What if everything you need to be successful is already in your hands? I want to encourage you that God has already equipped you with everything you need to go on the journey, everything you need to obtain the success that you're looking for. You just have to go for it. Sometimes we look so much outward and we look at everything around us and everyone around us, and we look at everything that they have, so much to the point where we start to look at ourselves and think that we have nothing. We start to doubt the very things that we even have. And for myself, I could say that I know that I had certain gifts or certain talents, but when I looked outward and I compared myself to other people, the very gifts and talents that I thought I had myself started to diminish. It started to look like it was less visible than what I thought it was before. And I know for so many of us, the comparison is a thing that's natural for you to do. Sometimes you just can't help but see the glory of someone's life, or what looks to be glorious, or what looks to be sparkling with glitter. It's sometimes hard to avoid seeing it. Sometimes you wish you're doing certain things, or you wish you could do certain things, but it may seem like it's so far out of reach for you. I want to let you know that instead of focusing so much outward, so much at other people's lives, so much at what people show on social media and what looks good, that maybe it's not all that it cracks up to be sometimes, but also there's a lot of things that you have hidden deep down inside of you that you just haven't even unlocked yet. There's a lot of things that you're not even operating or using because you're so focused on everything else around you. Sometimes it takes for you to really take inventory of your life and look at the gifts that you have, look at the blessings that God has given you, and utilize your resources. There's so much potential that people have inside of them. And I see it every day, where a person can be really, really good at this, or really, really good in this area. But anytime they focus on everything else around them, they start to look at themselves as less than. They start to believe that the very things that they have is not even worth anything. But I want to tell you that if you really started to look at the gifts that you have, look at the blessings that you have, look at the opportunity that you have, it's already inside of you. If you started to use and act on these very things, your life could literally transform. And it's happened in my own life where I saw that I was good at certain things. I saw that certain things just naturally worked out for me, or it seemed easier for me than it was for other people. And when I started to operate using these gifts, or I started to pursue it, God's provision actually made it successful. God actually helped me use these gifts to change my life. And so if I sat down my whole life and I thought about myself the way that I used to, where I felt like I wasn't going to amount to anything, I felt like my life was completely negative, and I felt like there was no way that I could ever possibly get out of the situations that I was in, if I stayed in that mindset, I would never be who I am today. And even now, the very ways that I think about myself is very, very important because it determines my future. And it's the same thing for you. You have to really check yourself and think about the ways that you look at yourself, the ways that you think about yourself, the way that you talk about yourself. That negative self-talk, that negative self-chatter that we have all day consistently could be the very thing that's affecting you from reaching your goals, could be the very thing that's affecting you from you becoming the person that you need to be in order for you to feel good about yourself. I want to encourage you to stop waiting for perfect conditions. And there has been so many times in my life, and I've had to check myself even recently to say, stop making excuses. Stop thinking that everything has to be perfect, or it has to be the perfect conditions in order for you to act, in order for you to take a step forward, in order for you to pursue something. If there's anything that you want to do you think you have to have everything lined up and all of your ducks in a row in order for it to work? No. And in fact, God will often give you a puzzle piece with things completely out of order, and it's up to you to build the puzzle or not. It's up to you to find the pieces, missing pieces, and put it together. If everything was perfect, and if everything was perfect as is, there's no growth in anything that you're trying to achieve if it was perfect. If everything was put together for you, then there would be no development of your character, no development of your mindset, no development of you as a person. There's no growth in that. And so I'm thankful that everything is not handed to us, that everything is not perfectly in place for us to just step into it and it just be what it is. Like, Be happy that there's opportunities for you out there, that you just have to shift things and move things together to make it ideal and make it prosperous for you. So waiting for the perfect conditions is only going to cause you to delay your goals. It's only going to cause you to delay the visions that you have for yourself. It's only going to cause an obstacle for you to achieve the very things that you want to achieve. There's never going to be a perfect condition. So if you're looking for that, you're holding yourself back. You have to take those small steps now, even in the most unperfect situations, because God is going to honor the fact that you did not fold under the pressure, that you didn't give up just because it didn't look perfect. So if you haven't pursued things because it didn't look ideal or it wasn't perfect to you, chances are you're missing out on the very things that God is trying to use to develop you for the very thing that He wants to give you. Faith grows when you use what you have. If I was completely relying on my own strength, which I've tried to do many times in my life, I would definitely feel overwhelmed. I would definitely feel like what I'm trying to do is not working. I would definitely feel like it's meant for me to give it up because it's just not it's not going in the direction I wanted to go in. But the Bible says without faith, it's impossible to please God. So I even had this conversation with myself today that, God, if I've ever never had the faith, if I've ever not had enough faith to please you, I apologize and forgive me for that, because I know there's been times where I had a lack of faith in everything that I was doing because I felt like I was relying on my own strength. I felt like if I couldn't do it in my own strength, it wasn't going to happen and it just wasn't meant for me. But sometimes we dream so small, or we think about our capacity as the only capacity that we're operating out of. You have to know that God is going to give you the strength. Your strength lies in God. So if you're setting out to do something and you're telling yourself that you can't do it because you don't know how you're going to do it, it's not up to you. It's up to God. You have to rely on Him and allow Him to give you the strength through every situation, through every idea, through every opportunity, through every obstacle. Allow God to give you that strength. And I promise you, it is going to change your life. And remember that small steps make huge impact. I can't tell you how many times I beat up on myself for months of just beating up on myself, right? And it came to a point where I said, either you're going to make a step or you're not. Either you're going to take a chance or you're not. Either you're going to do it or you're not. And just one small action step forward could literally change the trajectory of everything that you're feeling. And it's happened in my own life. I got tired of being depressed. I got tired of feeling down. I got tired of feeling like my life wasn't working. I got tired of me thinking every time I try something, it just wasn't, what's the point of trying because maybe it won't work out. I got tired of talking to myself like that. I got tired of losing the race before I even began because I battled with myself mentally for so long. I got tired of giving in to the devil because I was just listening to all of the different negative things that I was hearing. It's time for you to fight back, and it's time for you to take charge of your life and understand that if you want it, you have to go get it. If you want it, you have to work for it. If you want it, you got to put in the effort, the honest effort, and show God that you're trying. Start with what you have. Start with the little bit that you feel like God has given you. Start with a little bit of effort you think you can give. Start with a little bit of motivation you think you have. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. Because as we know, a little bit goes a long way. And with the little bit that you feel like God has given you, maybe it's a lot that you just don't even know, because it is. Look deep within and find those very things that is connected to you, that already lives inside of you, the gifts that you have that you haven't even been using, that you haven't even been operating out of. Start using just a little bit of it and watch how God moves in your life.